Welcome to Wheels, Deals, and Meals, where we talk all things good food, good business, and good cars. And now, here is your host, Arnold Gacita, founder and CEO of Petra Automotive Products. Let's roll.
Well, today's podcast is a very special one for me. Dr. Laura Murillo is with us, who is the president of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We have known each other now for how long?
I'm going to say almost 10 years.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yes.
I believe so. How time flies.
It does, and we've had some good times and have made a lot of great things happen.
We have.
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
Especially, with you. You're so great. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. But thanks for being on the show.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be on the show. I saw it and I thought, well, maybe one day when I make it, I'll get invited to be on.
You're almost going to make it, so we thought we better get her now because when she makes it, we're not going to be able to get her on.
Yeah.
So listen, before we talk about the really, really, really good stuff, what's your favorite car?
My favorite car that I own, or
No,
my favorite
dream car. This is the car that Dr. Laura Murillo wants to have in her dreams one day.
I'm going to say it's not a car. It's a private airplane.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a really nice, sleek, never used before.
Okay.
Mild plane, and it's lavender.
Lavender color.
Lavender, because my favorite color is purple.
Okay. Okay.
So I think in cars, I pretty much can, for the most part.
What are you going to put on the name on the plane?
Nothing.
Just lavender.
Just lavender, because you want people not to know.
Well, but
right?
the lavender is going to kind of give it
Well,
away.
that's right, but it'll be.
It's almost like
some
it's either
mystery.
Prince or
Who
Dr.
is
Laura
that?
Murillo.
Exactly. The plane. I think a private plane to take my friends on trips and just surprise them and share.
All right. Well, let's talk about your current car,
Okay.
because I know that's a nice one too.
Yeah, so I have a Ford. No, I don't. My first car was a Ford, actually. My daddy got me a Ford, my first car, when I was, 18. I have a Porsche Panamera, all black wheels, and I have a convertible Bentley.
Which was your favorite?
The convertible Bentley.
The Bentley is it's luxury and it's comfort.
And it's speed. It's a fast car. It's got a lot of juice to it. I don't drive it fast. As a matter of fact, if I want to relax, I drive in the Bentley, because it's just like,
Yeah.
you feel the
you're
weight
cruising.
of
You're
the
cruising.
car. Oh, yes. And then the Porsche is just like my everyday, let's go, hustle, get in and out. But both fun cars at the end of the day.
Yeah. That's good. It's good to be able to achieve a level of success
Yes.
that you get to buy something like that.
Little toys.
It's little toys,
Absolutely.
you know?
It's toys, it's luxuries in life, and it's blessings that you don't take for granted, right?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because you talked about your first car. What was
Yes.
your first car?
It was a Ford Thunderbird. So my daddy, after I'd worked for him at the restaurant from the time I was 10 until I was 21, when I graduated from high school, he bought me a cherry red electric door opener. So that was a big deal. Ford Thunderbird.
New or used?
Yeah.
New.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was a
Nice.
good employee.
No, I guess so. What a bonus. You also knew the owner, but what a
Yes.
bonus.
Yeah.
My first car was a 1978 Cobra Mustang.
Oh.
It was 10 years old.
Ooh, yeah. But those were really nice.
No, they were nice. I should have never sold it.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was looking up to see if I can find it. If I could find the one that looks like my original, which was
Yeah.
brown and gold. So you remember Fair Fawcett had one.
Yes.
So this was the brown and gold version, more of a guy version, I guess.
Okay.
If I can find that vehicle again,
Yeah,
I would
be
buy it.
happy.
But those are special cars.
They are. So my second car was a Ford Mustang. And so if you remember, the Mustangs had that little trim tape like orange or whatever.
Yeah.
So I had that removed, and I went to Home Depot and I bought lavender tape.
Oh my goodness.
And so my black on black Mustang had lavender trim around it.
No kid. So this lavender thing's been going on
As
for a
little
while.
girl, since I was 5 or 6, as long as I can
Any
remember.
particular reason, or you just
I
said I like that
love it.
color?
That was just my color. And so my mother, being a great mom, would make tamales all the time, but she would make sweet tamales. And for my order, she'd throw in a pack of Kool-Aid. So they were lavender sweet tamales.
That's a nice mom.
It's a good mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
good.
no, I've always liked it.
What about travel? What's your favorite place to travel?
Oh gosh, I love Turkey. Been there before. It's fascinating. I love Italy, of course, and Mexico so much.
Mexico because it's home?
because it's home and the people and the food, and there's just so
But
much.
you kind
to
of get
see.
that with Italy too, right? The
Oh,
people
my
and the
goodness.
food.
Yes, all of the. I just love to travel. Take me anywhere. Pretty good. I'm easy, and I know you don't believe it because you know me well. People who travel with me will sign affidavits confirming. I take one little, no matter where I go, and it's always carry-on or just one tote bag.
Yeah.
That's it. I go easy.
You
Now,
wanna move.
don't ask me how I come back though.
Okay, because I was gonna say, which is very unusual for a woman.
It is.
You know,
And
not
and
stereotyping, but it
change
just
a lot.
yeah.
So you'll see photos and the folks that travel, they're like, okay, really?
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, but there's a surprise on the way back.
Well, if we're lucky, yeah. It's a great trip. Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about the Laura story because I know it, but I think it's fascinating. you
Yeah.
know? So, where are your parents from?
My parents were from San Luis Potosí, Rio Verde.
They were immigrants.
And they were immigrants. They came here as teenagers. They actually crossed the Rio Grande. My dad was learned how to put tile in. So he laid tile. He learned to do. Did it for many, many years. Ultimately, my brother, eldest brother, had just come back from Vietnam. My mother had a little oatmeal jar with some cash stuffed in it. There was a Mexican restaurant in our neighborhood that was up for sale. So between my parents and my brother and his wife opened up El Jardín restaurant, which is in the barrio still today. And I started working there from age 10 until I was 21 and learned a whole lot about customer service and culture and people and speaking Spanish, everything.
So wait, go back. So you were working from 8 to 10 or since you were 10?
From the time I was 10 years old.
From the time you were 10 till the time you were 21.
Which was when I graduated from college.
You worked at that restaurant?
Yes, weekends, and then my sisters had a beauty salon, so I would shampoo hair a couple of days a week with them. And then I wanted to be in media, so I had an internship in like Texas City, and I was at University of Houston. I had 3 jobs, and I went to school full time. And so I'd only go to school on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I could work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Did anybody ever tell you no?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, people told me no, but I just knocked on another door. You know, one of the best things that my father ever said to me was, we don't live on a ranch. This is a big city. So if somebody tells you no, ask someone else. So that's been great advice.
That's been, yeah.
And
I've
so,
done a few business things with you, so I know that's good.
So on the telling you no, this is a funny related story. So one of our emerging leaders through our foundation, she's having some challenges and calls me, and so I'm trying to help, but she needs a kidney. But there were a lot of other things that I could support her with, right? So I called one of our sponsors. I say, Bill, you know, I got an emerging leader. You know, I'm calling you because I need a huge favor. She needs a kidney. Stop, he says. You've talked me into a lot of things, but I will not give you a kidney. I don't need a kidney. She needs a car rental. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But I'm fortunate to be able to pick up the phone, Arnold, and help other people.
And you
whether
don't
it's
take,
a
you
job.
do not take no for an
I
answer.
try not to. Help them get a job, help them get a contract, take a meeting, whatever I can do to help. So that's what
and
I'm
you
here
do that
for.
for sure. And we're
Yeah.
going to get to that. You do that
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
All right, so 10 years old to 21, you're
Yes.
working at this restaurant.
Yes.
What all positions that you do there?
Oh, head groundskeeper, folding up all the napkins and cleaning the forks and spoons, cleaning the tables, making sure the salt, shaker peppers were filled, not to the top, but just right,
Okay.
because then it gets stuck. So it's one
Okay.
of my pet peeves when I go to restaurants.
That it's all the way.
And it's all the way, and then the humidity gets it. I'm a sticker.
You're like,
on that.
I know this.
Right. Like, you need to go back to hospitality school. So cleaning the tables, organizing the chairs, fixing the tables up, smiling, posting, working the window where the food was coming up to make sure it got to the tables quickly, the cash register, being in the way, talking, helping the employees when they need their gold card or somebody's trying to go to school. My dad would always say, what are you doing? You keep talking to the employees. I said, but they need things. She said, no, they need to work. And I said, well, Dad, you know, if we help them get whatever they're needing to do, then they'll be here longer. And so I always loved helping people. That was just my thing. And I was able to practice my Spanish and just take care of stuff, right?
Your home growing up was it Spanish speaking or English?
Oh, Spanish, for sure. Yeah, both of my parents, spoke
So
Spanish.
would you say that's your first language?
Yes, absolutely. And anytime that I do something, I use the excuse like, oh, sorry, English is my second language, right?
So we kind of jumped into 8 or 10 to 21, and you're
Yes.
graduating, you're undergraduate from
Yes.
from University of Houston.
Yes,
But tell us the story about when you graduated high school.
yes,
You had some offers for colleges,
I did.
and one particular statement that your dad said.
So I graduated from high school, and thanks to great teachers, they said to me, you should apply to college, and we're going to help you get into great schools. I got into Harvard, Stanford, and Yale. So I go home and tell my mother and father about this great opportunity, and my mother, her response was, ¿Cómo que Yale? ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? No, Yale es una escuela. Ay, qué bueno, gracias a Dios. And then I looked at my dad, and they looked at each other, and my father says, where are these schools? And I said, he said, so you'll have to sleep there? And I said, yes. And he says, oh, well, then you can't go. So that was
as a
it.
good Latino back then.
And my mother was absolutely concurred. Spending the night was foreign. And I remember my counselor saying, well, we'll go and talk to your parents. I said, there's no talking here. That decision is made. So if I'm going, I'll go somewhere else. And you know what, Arnold? I always believe that you're where you're supposed to be. And God has a reason for all of the things that happen in our lives. And God wanted me in Houston. And he wanted me to go U of H, and I graduated from U of H. I got my master's, I earned my doctorate degree, and I
Wearing
worked
the U
there
of H collar?
15 years. I worked at U of H, and I wouldn't change it. It's who I am. I've been blessed that I know so many people because I've been here so long.
All right, so what did you study? Graduate 21, and what was your degree?
Journalism, communication, which I didn't use immediately, but along the way, and now I've been running the chamber program on CBS for next year will be 15 years on CBS, which there's no one else in Houston, Hispanic or not, that's not affiliated with the station to have a television program run that long. And on CBS radio on 6 stations, and on Univision and Univision Radio. So
How many TV shows do you have now?
4,
And radio?
6.
Good. Hey, it's coming in handy.
Hey, I think so. Well, you know what? I think that journalism communication will always come in handy, right?
It does.
It's
Communication is
yeah,
needed and big in every
yes,
aspect of every business.
yeah.
Okay, so you're 21, you
Yes.
graduate. What's the next job? You decided to go on. Did you immediately continue your education?
Oh no.
Or you went out to work?
No, work. And
Where'd you
so
go?
well, first thing I did was I went and showed my daddy my diploma, my degree.
Not from
So-
jail.
From UVA, and showed him that so I could be like, okay, you can get out of here.
Okay.
So I have an actual picture with him, like on my last work day, saying, yes, it's hard work. Restaurants are
is.
hard work. So my first job was at the University of Houston, and I was out giving motivational speeches promoting college. I worked for UH, A&M, and UT. It was an outreach program, and I spoke to over 350 schools like in a year, just talking about college and then in Spanish, helping people understand why they needed their children to go to school and how they would change their lives. And then I was recruited away from that program onto the main campus at U of H, and I spent 7 years with Dr. Mendiola in what was at the time the Center for Mexican American Studies, and got promoted every 2 years, and spent 15 at U of H getting promoted every 2 years. The last 7, I worked for various presidents in what is advancement, philanthropy, external relations. Yeah, so I spent a big part of my life at U of H,
So how many years again?
almost 15.
So 36.
Yeah.
Is that when you started your?
I started my master's while I was still there.
Okay.
And then close to the end of my last few years, more people started talking to me about staying as an administrator. And I thought, well, maybe I do want to do this, make a career out of it. And they said, well, you have to earn a doctorate.
Well, you got a huge exposure,
Yep.
right? And all of these things you
Yes.
were doing in those 15 years.
Yes.
You obviously liked it.
I loved it. I
you know?
loved it.
So what made you say, okay, I'm going to get my master's, or maybe even think about doing something else?
Yeah. So once I earned my master's and I looked around the leaders, not only at the university, but in the city of Houston, I noticed that especially like 3 or 4 people in Houston, if something happened among the Hispanic community, they were on television, they were advocating, they held respectful positions in the community, not just in the Hispanic community, but in Houston. And they had 2 letters in front of their names. And then those people said to me, you need to earn a doctorate. And I said, no, I'm good. Because by then I had a little daughter. I didn't want to go back to school. I wasn't going to leave my job. So after much conversation and looking at it, I decided to pursue it. And I didn't get in right away, Arnold, because you have to take your GRE. All of these things are requirements. But I went back at it again, got more letters. And I think when they said no, is when it really inspired me to want to do
Nobody says no
it.
to Laura.
So I said, you know what? And one of the professors who's no longer there, he said, you know, you went to Austin High School. That's an HISD school. You're going to have a tough time. And you're working. And people like you start the doctoral program, but they don't finish.
That's another no.
Okay, that's another no. And Arnold, I walked out of there thinking, you know, maybe he's right. This is a lot of money. It's a huge commitment. It's a lot to it. And as God would have it, I'm walking out of his office, and there was a cork board with summer programs. And one of the summer programs, there was a photo of the place where my parents were born. And it was a research project. And it just, that triggered to say, you know what, shake it off, keep working at it, because if my parents crossed the Rio Grande with no language, no education, no money, who is this one man to tell me I can't do it? And less than 2% of Latinos in the country have earned doctorate degrees. So I'm glad I did it.
So did you stop work for a while and focus on that, or you
sir.
did it while you were working?
Full-time school, full-time work, a 2-year-old daughter. Somewhere along the way, I got pregnant with the second daughter. In my last year, I was pregnant. My mother had a massive heart attack, and I had just gotten promoted. It was probably one of the most challenging years of my life. My mother survived the heart attack. She got to see her youngest of 9 cross the stage, gave birth to the second daughter, got the promotion, and then was hired away to Memorial Herman in the Texas Medical Center, all in the span of a year.
So your doctor's degree is in,
Administration and supervision.
so you finish that,
Yep.
go
to
through
Memorial.
this hard year,
Yes.
and you get hired into Memorial Herman. Doing,
I didn't want to go. I loved U of H, and I went kicking and screaming. But the truth is that in talking to my mentors and others, and really doing some deep soul searching, it's the Texas Medical Center. It's Memorial Herman. It's reporting to the
worldwide
CEO.
recognition.
Reporting to the CEO. And I met with her, you know, Juanita Roman, she was my boss. And I met with her, and within the first 5 minutes, Arnold, I said, I'm doing this. I want to learn from this woman. And I asked her a very important question. Why should I leave the University of Houston and come to Memorial Herman and work for you? She said, because I develop people. And I was on her executive
That's a
committee
good answer.
as the only Latina on the executive committee of 10, the only Latina, one of the youngest, and the only one who was not a clinician. I wasn't a nurse, I wasn't a doctor. And I learned so much during those 7 years reporting to her and learning new things that I would not have learned had I stayed at U of H. It was a different environment and very passionate people, and hospitals are 24/7 environments. And after the first 3 or 4 years of fundraising, she said, enough. You need to learn other things because one day you will be a CEO. Okay. So of the 10 of us who were on her executive committee, 8 out of 10 went on to become CEOs. 8 out of 10 of us.
Unbelievable.
And so I do believe that people make a difference. And I do believe that one sometimes has to get out of
was
their
she your
comfort zone.
mentor?
She became my mentor. She wasn't. I mean, she was a stranger to me. You know, I didn't know her, but I got to know her. And I learned from her, and I watched her. And I watched her interaction with very, very accomplished physicians and others. And she got things done, Arnold. At the end of the day, she was a woman who made things happen. And I watched the rest of her team. So I was around a different caliber of people that were from all around the country. And I just learned different skills that I would not necessarily have been exposed to that quickly, that soon. And everything was working with urgency and accuracy. Because you had lives on the line, you had budgets, you had all kinds of things. And I have a true respect for people who are in the healthcare industry because it's very
Well, and you were in the
complex.
biggest of the biggest.
Yes, yeah.
You were in the biggest worldwide.
And she pulled me out of what was my comfort zone of 2 people in an office raising money, external relations, all of these things, to 10 departments from Friday to Monday. I was heading up 10 departments for her with a budget of about $300 million that I was responsible for, with everything from customer service, customer relations, VIP suites, valet, emergency rooms, anything that had to do with interfacing with the public. And she said, you're going to be great at this. She said, because you're not a clinician, you're not a nurse, you're not a doctor. You see things as people coming in to this building would see them. You know people follow you, people will listen to you.
Good insight on her part too, right?
You'll be a good fit. Whatever you don't know, we'll teach you. The rest of it is intuitive to who you are. So when I came to her and I said, there's this job at this chamber and they don't have any money and they're going through some challenges and it needs a lot of work. She said, you've been preparing for this your whole life. Get out of here. Go do it.
That's fantastic. Great
And
mentor.
She was great.
Because that's what we're supposed to do. Look, I think in every business, we're supposed to help the next generation become us, if not better,
Yes.
right? And then let them go.
Yes.
Let them do their thing, and they'll do it to the next generation. I mean, we can't hold, even Moses at some point in the Bible had to say, okay, we're going to,
Yeah.
that's great. Okay, so and how long did you stay with her?
About 7 years.
So 7 years, you're with her,
Yes.
and then that's when the opportunity at the chamber came up?
So I'm on the board of the chamber while I'm working at Memorial Herman. We're at actually the folks who own this restaurant held a board meeting at another restaurant, and they were passing around the chip basket or whatever because we were trying to make payroll. And it was mostly men, 2 women maybe, and we were trying to collect money for payroll. It was a challenging time, a lot of challenges. And I sat there thinking, okay, look, I'll come up with $2,500. Arnold, how much do you have? So-and-so. Let's make payroll. Let's just take care of that. And then I remember leaving the meeting thinking, I don't know if I can keep coming to these because, Juanita does not play. I need to be, attentive to my job. And then a couple of the men followed me out and they said, Laura, you should run the chamber. You'd be great. We just need to start all over and you'd be wonderful. I said, what have I done to you that you would say that to me? He said, I've got a great job and a phenomenal boss and I finally made it, right? I got this job as an executive in the Texas
So you
Medical
were going to
Center.
run, so they were asking you to run as chairman,
No.
as president.
Because we had terminated 4 presidents in 3 years. So, people were coming
Turnover
and
after-
going
yeah.
and turnover and we
And
were
you can't get anywhere like that.
it was just like, this is just not good for anybody.
Right.
And so they said, look, we need stability, we need to do this right, and you have a lot of leadership that we think would be helpful. And so at first I was just like, I dismissed it, right? Like, no way. But then by the time I got home, like I could see the chamber, not for what it was, but I could see what it could be. And to me, it was a great opportunity, and it would involve people, passion, and persistence. We needed the right people. I knew that if I chose to do this, that I'd have the passion to bring others along, that you'd want to be part of it. And the persistence was just intuitive. I mean, with entrepreneurs, right? We're not going to let a no deflate us. We're just keep on moving. And it's the people that we were able to bring together to the table, put rules and policies in place, and my reputation on the line to go to Paul Murphy and others to say, we need a home. We got evicted because whatever, a couple of months after I took the job. And here we are today, a very influential chamber that helps a lot of people because of board members like yourselves and others that
Don't
came together.
go too fast on that story because I want people to know the management foresight that you had and the structure that you brought, the vision you brought, the passion, the hard work that you brought to take this almost, if not bankrupt.
No, it was definitely bankrupt.
Bankrupt, yeah. I didn't want to be too, because you're getting evicted, right? So there's like, what can I say that would be nice? But so there's this chamber that's obviously struggling
Yeah.
in a city that's growing, that they
Yes.
shouldn't be struggling, getting evicted, and here comes Laura, who was probably the first woman president,
Yeah.
female
We
president.
had
in
one
there.
other who had.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, one other, yeah.
And so here she comes.
Yes.
Here's the dish that's broke. Fix it. What was one of the first things you did to fix it?
Well, let me just say part of what you said, and when you said, people said, come on, Laura, fix it. I will say, not everyone wanted it to be fixed, which is important to remember. Some people liked it broken. And that's a whole other podcast.
part two.
Yeah, we'll be back. One of the first things that I did was I visited with those in the executive committee, the three men for the most part, to say, okay, look, for this to work, we have to have a consensus on rules and governance and whatnot. And they said, we agree. None of us can afford for this not to work. And so in talking amongst that group, we agreed that we needed to go outside to bring in a consultant to help us just rebuild, right? There was just so much that needed to happen. So the first thing that I did was show me the budget. And we had something scheduled that was going to cost a lot of money that we didn't have the money for, that just didn't make sense. And so one of the things I suggested to the executive committee, I said, we need to stop everything. Like whatever y'all have lined up, we can't. We need to stop and take inventory. It's like with your business, right? If you're taking over a business, you don't spend money before you know what you owe and get some
What about buying?
All of that.
Yeah.
You don't do any. You got to look at things and understand it. And so it was a hard stop. And then it was to look at the two employees that were there and so much. And let me tell you, I just feel like if I survived all of that, that there's hope for all of us, whatever we decide to do, because changing culture, I was clearly on the board. There were two women at the time. It was mostly alpha men who were successful entrepreneurs and businessmen. And here I come, 20 years younger, from the outside, if you will, served on the board. What am I going to do? And had some of the men say, you know what, you should have stayed where you were. You will not make it here.
Straight out to you.
Straight to my face. Pull me aside. Five men. I'm happy to report that since those early days of 2007, 4 of the 5 men pulled me aside again to say, I am so sorry and I'm glad we hired you. So,
well, that's good.
I didn't do a lot of talking. I just, after those comments, I would just shake their hand and say, thank you for your support, and kept moving. And I think that's the leadership thing that we need to focus on, is that there are a lot of people in this city that want to help you. We need to find them and focus on that. Who can help? Who can move the ball forward?
Yeah, don't get
It's
stuck
people.
on the naysayers.
No, it's so
No.
easy. It's
Yeah,
so
it
easy.
is.
And
And we
it's a
all have an
waste of
ego. We all have
energy.
our feelings.
Sure,
But
sure.
like you said, this is such a large city.
Yes.
Go get the ones that are on your
Go
team.
find the champions. And so we did. We found champions. We found people that didn't need to be on the board, that almost we had to say, well, think about it. And today, we get the calls. I just got one this morning from a very prominent CEO through his number 2 saying, what do I have to do to be considered to serve on the chamber board? And that's where I saw us 16 years ago next year, that it would be a commodity that people would want, that we would be an organization that would absolutely show Latinos in a different perspective, with data, with successful people, to show that we were part of this economy and that we were relevant and influential, and that we would have a voice, and that it would be a professional organization that could host the largest luncheon in Houston, and all of the other great things this board has been able to do.
From day one to now, how many years you been on it?
Next year
as
will be
president?
16. 15 this year. 16 next year.
15 years
Yes.
as president of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
It is one of the largest in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, the most influential Hispanic chamber in the nation. Regardless of size and money, I would say you're the most influential chamber there is. And I obviously love the chamber. I've been part of the board, had the privilege of being a chairman. I'm not saying this in a biased way. It may sound biased, but you've been interviewed in CNN, Fox, Bloomberg. I mean, there isn't a national, when there is an issue about Latinos, you're in the forefront. Here and nationally, I believe you guys are the most influential chamber, Hispanic chamber in the nation. Nobody promotes Latinos like you promote. You know, I remember what was the slogan when I first got involved, which was the new majority.
The leader of Houston's new majority.
New majority.
Yes.
So we're the fourth largest city in the nation, if not the
Soon
third.
to be third.
Correct. 44% of the population is
Yes.
Hispanic.
We represent 27% of the electorate here in Houston.
27% electoral vote.
27, yes.
And 54 billion
And
to the economy,
consumers spend
just in the city of Houston.
In Houston only. And yet we walk around as if we are
Not
nothing or just second-class citizens, you know, whether we're treated that way or we've just accepted that. We're saying,
or we promote that. We promote the fact to be treated that way
Correct.
because of the servanthood and all this other stuff that
yes,
comes along.
and I believe that you can be a wonderful servant and that you can take a back seat, all of those things.
But still know your value.
Yes, and act like it and use it to help uplift those who don't have a voice. Because we have many who are here undocumented in the shadows, single parents, so many of the things that ail us. But those who are successful, those who are educated, have an opportunity and I believe a responsibility to lift up the rest of our community and to speak to those who are not Hispanic so that they understand that we have Arnold Gacitas in the world who are starting up orphanages that have nonprofits that are doing great things that you've just never heard about. And it's been my honor and privilege to promote that, not just to Houston, wherever I can, whether it's internationally, whether it's here locally with entrepreneurs, speaking at the Federal Reserve as the first Houstonian, not Hispanic, Arnold, the first Houstonian to serve on the board of the Federal Reserve in Washington, D.C. that reports to Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve. Very significant. As a president and CEO of a Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, that's work. Nothing has been given. We have worked for any door that has been open to us. We've earned it. We're hardworking people. Now we need to learn how to work smart.
And you know, you're a great example of work. I don't think there's anybody in Houston that knows you that doesn't know Laura Murillo will outwork anybody. You will outwork anybody. You're not afraid of work.
No.
You're on 24/7.
Yes.
I mean, it's good. Some people always say, well, that's not good. I don't know. I'm a little old fashioned, but you're on. You're on. You're on your game all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and I think you thrive on it.
I do. I love it. And it's not working for me. It's passion. It's excitement. I work with urgency. You know, when I was 18, speaking of cars, that Ford Thunderbird, I was held at gunpoint in that car at 18. And it was an absolute blessing that gun jammed as my mother sat next to me and I pulled her out of my car.
They pulled the trigger?
Oh yeah, he pulled the trigger. It jammed, the gun jammed. At 18, just out of high school.
I did not know that.
Out of high school, 18. And there's nothing like something traumatic like that doesn't, I mean, it absolutely, I look back now and think, what a blessing. Number one, that my mother was not hurt, nothing happened to me, she didn't witness anything, we got out the car, all of that. But what a blessing as 18 to come so close to death, to really wake you up and work with urgency.
And live.
Yes, and so Arnold, I promise you, I mean, there's an occasional I don't feel well, I'm sick, but other than that, I wake up like this and I go to sleep like this. And there's folks in our office 20
I've been on the
younger,
board.
like,
I've been on the board
you know?
for a long time and was chairman during 2020, which was crazy.
Yes.
I don't remember you ever calling in sick.
Never.
You know, you were in there. Even when you felt bad, you were in there. And even 2020, because I got to tell people, when 2020 came, you know, you're an organization that has the largest business luncheon in Houston, right? Correct?
Yes, in Houston.
One of the biggest galas in Houston. 2020 hits, plus all these other things, the leadership initiative, and you know the politician night and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
But 2020 comes, all that stops. All right, and and every year you're fundraising, right? Every year that starts all over again.
Machine, right?
So 2020 comes and no live function. What did you do? I know what you did. I just want them to know.
So we huddled with the board and we said, look, we're going to keep pushing forward. And once again, I think entrepreneurs like you shifted, you pivoted, you said, okay, hand sanitizer, we're going to start doing this. That's what entrepreneurs do. And at the end of the day, that's who I am. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. So thank God that 15 years ago, I'd gone and negotiated a deal with CBS, with Univision. I get on the phone with the mayor, the governor's office, the doctors, whomever, and we start just gathering all of this information. They were pushing out, had them come and hook up my penthouse with internet stuff so we could tape the TV shows. Started getting in touch with all of these non-for-profit agency bank CEOs saying, if you've got information you want us to share, we'll send it out. Started interviewing our sponsors on television. It was at night, it was on weekends, it was Sunday morning because the information was so constant. We work with other organizations such as the Restaurant Association to help restaurants get the permits and whatever they need
Open
to
their doors
sell
again, yeah.
alcohol, through the drive-through. It was a very busy time.
Well, you were also doing like these Zoom calls to educate people on what to do.
Where to go. Yes, wear your mask. This is how you put your mask on, not like this.
Yeah.
Talking to elected officials, disseminating information.
Yeah, but even the PPP, how you should do it, how to
All
fill
of
it
that.
out.
Calling the sponsors who said, you know what, Laura, we're watching. We're going to sponsor anyway. Just keep on doing what you're doing. And unfortunately, so many things were changing. People lost jobs. I got the calls from entrepreneurs that I got one more payroll left and I'm closing my doors. What do? I got a lot of those calls, Arnold. People who lost their jobs, people who were trying to start business or just open up a restaurant or a place. It was very taxing. At the same time, I'm a glasses half full person. I thought, what's the upside to this? Well, my daughter who had gone to Columbia University in New York came back home, and my daughter who was going to Georgetown State. So to me, the upside was I got to spend one extra year with my daughters. I got to see for the first time, after having lived at this place for 5 years, I saw the sun go up and down. I'd never stopped because I was never home at those hours. So I always tried to find at least one beautiful thing in the day. And then I decided this book that was in my mind for 10 years that I never made time for, because I have events at nights and weekends, I'm going to start that. And publishers contacted me. It was the right time. So I wrote the book, Lead in Life, and it became a #1 international bestseller in the US, Canada, Australia, outperforming the PepsiCo CEO, Phil Knight of Nike, Anderson Cooper, and Elon Musk. A book from a Latina in Houston's East End with immigrant parents. And so through any difficult time,
Let's name the book again. It's a great book.
Lead in Life. It's on
Lead
Amazon.
in Life.
Yes. And Arnold, let me tell you, I just feel so blessed that I have the great fortune to be able to help people. And that's my job. My job is to help people. And I can. And I can pick up a phone.
I know that, look, all of us that are in business and know each other and talk about you, if you need something, call Laura, because
Well,
she will know
appreciate that.
somebody or know somebody that knows somebody.
Yes.
And you do it so well. Even Petra, you've been an incredible help for us at Petra as well. You know that. At Petra Cares, when we started Petra Cares, you were an incredible help for that. I mean, Eric Andel basically is the guy that inspired, because Petra Cares, I don't know if you remember this, but in the beginning, we were going to build orphanages.
Yes.
Then you sent over Eric Andel.
Because I had breakfast with him and he said, I'm trying to do this and I have a great idea. And I
and
said,
he
you need to call Arnold.
and he turned our board 180, and we now are doing this incredible program where we take people exiting the foster care program or homeless young adults. We bring them into Petra through Lone Star. We teach them how to be a technician, and our dealers hire them.
Yes.
They leave with the job. We do everything but housing them, everything. And I'm saying that quickly. This is not about Petra Cares necessarily, but that you helped in that, and that you helped bring the person that actually, God used you to get Eric Andel into the board that totally turned us around. And we know it was a God thing because, when you come back out and visit us, the lives were changing, the stories that are being told, the things that are happening
Yes.
are just unbelievable. You can't make this up. It couldn't even be in a movie,
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you, Arnold, those are the things that keep me going and keep me awake at night. It's for most CEOs, what keeps them awake are worries. For me,
Right.
it's just like, oh, I need to remember to do
Yeah.
this. and
Wake up
take
at 2
care
o'clock
of
in the morning,
that.
send yourself an
And
email.
yes, and send myself a note and make sure I do it because I am so thankful. I am so blessed. I am so happy. And if I can do something to help someone, I know what it means to that person.
What, tell me, if you can, what is the worst thing you would say that happened to you in your career?
The worst thing?
I know you look at everything half, and I'm the same way, but there's things that hit us, bothered us, shook us.
The worst thing. I don't know if it's the worst thing, but it's the not being able to do more. That no matter how much I do, Arnold, the worst thing about my job is that I can't do more.
There's always more to do.
There's so much more to do. And we, in many ways, try to stay in our lane, business, the economy, all of those things that drive the economy. There's so many other, people saying, oh, come and do this over here. How about this? And I have to say, Arnold, I'd love to. I can't, but here's Judge Endell. No, but Laura, we want you.
Yeah.
And so I think the biggest challenge for me is having to say no, but here's something.
Yeah, delegating it up.
Delegating and just knowing that I need to have fun. I need to go on vacation. I need to enjoy my daughters and life. And I have to prioritize myself as well. And, I can go to the grocery store and, I'm just getting my groceries and saying, you're Laura Murillo. No, I'm not. And so it's just this sense of as much as
Start wearing a cap and the glasses.
as much as I feel we have done, because it is we. It is not just me. It's we. I've got to call somebody to do something, right? So I don't just turn on your lights and get you your
But it
permit.
takes a leader.
It does, but it's the relationships I have with all of these other people to make it happen. It's that feeling of, as much as I've done, oh my goodness.
There's still more to do.
There's so much. And I never feel like,
Yeah. I hate to
I'm
tell you this.
building
I think
this
that's never,
candle.
I hate to tell you this. I don't think that's ever going to end.
yeah. But it's not as if, okay, we're going to build this candle, put it, and we're done. Look, there it
Yeah.
is. No.
No.
And it
Because,
feels,
because in your case, using the candle, there's always another fire.
something
There's also
else.
another opportunity. It doesn't
Yes.
have to be a fire.
And it's
It
just,
could be an opportunity.
and it's deciphering and deciding, okay, which is most impactful.
All right. What's the best thing that happened in your career?
I think one of the best things that's happened certainly are the people that I've been able to meet, the people that have helped create emerging leaders, and that legacy of young professionals will go on well beyond our lives, Arnold. And to see the fruits of that, and I have a whole big, like those bins that you put like your Christmas lights in with cards, letters, emails. And I mean, it's just very empowering to know that you've changed people's life. You've helped them get a job. You've coached them through this. You've helped them through that. So for me, the best thing are the people that I've had the pleasure to meet and perhaps do something that's helped them get to the next step. Personal
But
or
that's-
professional?
That's paying back, however you want to look at
Yes.
it, personal or professional.
Yeah.
So let's end it with this. Since you talk about the emerging leaders,
Mhm.
what couple of pieces of advice do you give people today trying to become the next Laura or the next successful business person?
Mhm.
What advice do you give them?
Very simply, using my book as the example and the subtext of it, people. You gotta have the right people. You must be passionate and you must be persistent. If you can figure out all three, there's very little you can't do.
That's great. That's good. Laura, thanks for being on the show.
Arnold, you've been a great friend, a great board member. You got us through the pandemic during some challenging times.
We did it together.
And I'm just so appreciative of you, the board members, the staff, the volunteers, our sponsors, that together we've done so many great things for Houston.
We have. And there's so much more yet to come.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. We're going to be right back. Now we're going to try the food here at the Lim Bar.
Yes, it's delicious. You're
Get,
gonna love
get,
it.
get ready.
Here we go. So famous for their empanadas
So-
served
so-
over hummus. See that?
That is very interesting.
Now, this could be a dessert. Now, when I saw it in the menu, I thought, well, I like beets, but yogurt, beets, and graham crackers, I don't know.
This is
Very savory.
this will definitely be a first time for that.
Well, there you have it. See, we're not going to bring you the usual. We've got
Now,
to,
we didn't mention this on camera, but we talked beforehand.
Yes.
So when I interview our guests, we ask
Okay.
them, pick the place that you want to go,
Yep.
do this interview. We typically do it at a restaurant. You pick this place,
Yep.
and you mentioned a couple of reasons why. Say that again.
So, David Cordua is the chef here. His father's Michael Cordua. The first year I was president and CEO of the Hispanic Chamber, Michael Cordua was on the board, and he was very supportive of me and understood Laura. He got it. He knew me. And we remained friends over 20 years or whatnot. And they just opened this restaurant with David as the lead. And as you can see, it's a fusion of Latin and also just a lot of delicious flavors with their famous churrasco, their empanadas, and that beet salad. Don't knock it till you try it.
No, I'm not. I'm excited about trying it.
Yeah, it's a sweet yogurt. It's a sweet yogurt. The hummus is phenomenal, and you can't go wrong with their churrasco. So,
All right.
we've been great
Let's-
friends
let's-
for many years. Their business here in Houston, which is formerly the Sears building, was here before. And there's a lot of incubators, business incubators here. So I do a lot of speaking as well. He's been super supportive of me and everything chamber. I'll never forget when he walked into the office. They'd always had, of course, at that time they called them secretaries, right? And
Yeah.
let's just say she didn't last. And so then the next board meeting after I got hired, I had to send a loud message because they were all men. And I hired a 6'2" former Marine. So he's sitting in the lobby. So Michael comes in, he says, "Really?"
Really?
He said, "Muy bien, mi doctor." But I had to set the tone.
Well played, well played, yeah.
It's a different time. It's a different time.
All right, let's try this.
Okay, so here, I want you to try the this beef empanada, which is delicious. So they have it also in the spinach, but I thought we'd go all beef today.
All right.
Try that
I'm
with
in.
the hummus.
Let's switch plates here.
It's delicious. And
So when you come here, is
Yep.
this what you usually get?
yes, I've tried the paella. It's delicious.
They have paella?
They have paella.
Love paella.
And then they also have very good fish entrees as well. So I haven't had a bad experience here. And I also like it because I hold a lot of meetings and you can have a conversation. It's not too loud. And in the evening, it has a whole different vibe. It's just beautiful. It's
Like
a beautiful
light,
restaurant.
darker?
This is delicious.
Mm.
What do you think? Pine nuts, I think, are in there.
Pine nuts.
Mm-hmm.
The hummus addition is really good. Which kind of makes sense, right? Because the pita bread,
Mm-hmm.
would be kind of the empanada.
Yeah. It's got a little kick to it.
Come on in.
You feel the kick a little
Mm-hmm.
bit? Very, very good.
But the hummus really makes it good.
Yes.
Are we leaving this for dessert?
No, I think we should try it already. Thank you. Let me just put it here. Thank you. Yeah, we'll just try some of that. So it's graham crust on top.
So this is old wives' tales, right? When I was a kid,
Okay.
if for whatever reason somebody was low
Uh-huh.
on blood count, I guess, I don't know, it was beets. You had to eat beets.
Oh, okay. I hadn't heard that, but
Beets and liver, just so you know.
oh, okay, well.
Yeah,
maybe
both-
the beets, but I'll pass on the liver. Do you like liver?
When I was a kid, I ate it, but I don't think I've ate it since I was a kid. I mean, I ate it because it was served, but no, I'm not a liver fan.
What do you think? It's good, right? It's different.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a dessert. Is that a dessert or is that an appetizer?
It's a salad. It's a sweet yogurt. The graham cracker on top.
It
and
reminds me
beet.
of the different kinds of yogurts that I had in Greece that are not common here. That's actually great.
It's very good. Right? It's a very good taste. Nice, huh?
Delicious.
So we didn't order the spinach empanadas, but they also come in spinach. And Just good. Good stuff.
Is this one of your favorite restaurants?
Yes, it is.
What's another place that you like to hit?
Well, so I try as much as I can to support small business. So there's a place called Salo Kitchen. And it's true Mexican, authentic Mexican food. So you get a little ribeye.
Saltillo, where's it at?
Salo Kitchen, it's in Bel Air.
Thank you, sir.
Now, if you were driving, you'd drive right past it because it's in a little strip center, right? And there's a pest control place to the left and a shoe place or something, and Salo Kitchen's a little hole in the wall. He's from Monterrey. Little ribeye, a Mexican enchilada with white cheese, phenomenal salsas, small, maybe 20 tables in there.
I love it.
It's
I love that.
excellent.
Does your family still own restaurants?
Yes. So where I worked with my parents and my brother and sister-in-law, that is still open. And since then, my eldest brother and family opened up a few more. And so the restaurants are still there. And I have a great appreciation for restaurateurs. It's hard work.
What are they called? What's the name?
El Jardín and Mama Cita. Yeah.
So they're still in the business. They ever ask you to come back because they need some help?
That wouldn't be a smart idea.
Okay, this is flank steak, is that right?
Yes.
With chimichurri?
With chimichurri, yeah.
Delicious.
Very good, right?
Absolutely delicious.
It is, can't go wrong with it. And I'm telling you, their fish plates are just scrumptious. Crab meat, shrimp on top, over a really beautiful rice. But I haven't had it today. I was here with someone earlier, and they had a hamburger of all things. Best looking hamburger I've ever seen.
It's so fun once we do this podcast, as we get to see new, interesting restaurants. I'll tell you a funny one. We interviewed the president of Traction, which is a company that makes this alignment, not alignment, but a machine that tells people when they need alignment. Anyway, he loves to cook, so he said, look, would it be bad if we don't do it in a restaurant? Come to my house and we'll cook. So we actually shot an episode cooking.
Okay.
And it was outstanding. So many neat things have happened as we do
There's
this
a lot
podcast.
of great restaurants in Houston, huh?
Oh,
What's one of your favorites?
depends what I'm eating. Steak 48, if I'm eating steak.
Okay.
Pappadeaux if I'm eating seafood. Mexican, if it's Tex-Mex, I like lupus. Authentic Mexican restaurant, I'm gonna reserve on that. I there's so many great little
Yeah.
hole in the walls that are, in my opinion, the ones that really make the authentic.
Okay. The authentic list.
You
Yeah,
know.
I got you.
Tex-Mex obviously is extremely popular here.
Well, and there's a lot of good places to eat in Houston.
Yeah.
Everywhere you
And
turn.
Yeah. What about you?
Well,
What's your steak place?
my steak plate is still Vick and Anthony's.
Okay.
Can't
That'd
go
be my
wrong.
second.
Can't go wrong with Vick and Anthony's. It's always good.
So for yours,
Yeah.
in Las Vegas at a restaurant called Ferraro's.
Oh, I didn't know we could go to Las Vegas for this.
Yes.
Well,
We're all
gee
over.
whiz,
We're all over.
I needed to read
It'll be part two. It'll be the part two.
Yeah.
So we went to Ferraro's in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
We actually shot two shows in Las Vegas. One at a steakhouse, one Italian. But Ferraro's, second generation, same thing, Italian owner. Mom and dad started it. Mom's out there doing the flowers and the stuff. The dad started it. Now the son's the executive chef. Incredible food. Incredible food. It's such an interesting. It's one of the neat, nice things about the podcast is that we get to meet interesting people that run or own incredible restaurants and have the passion you're talking
Yeah.
about food. And you can see it when they talk about it.
Yeah.
You want to eat it already. The passion, the way they describe the food, it's
Yes.
so good. Well, Laura, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Cheers to you to
Cheers.
many, many more successes.
Thank you so much. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you for listening to Wheels, Deals, and Meals, your main source for all things good and fun, business, food, and cars. If you like this episode, make sure to rate us and subscribe. If you would like to be a guest on our show, please leave a message at the link below. Till next time, happy eating!